Go ahead,
right,
Jason.
Okay, well, this week, and this one kind of moves into a bit of a rant, bit of a tech thing, but the Supreme Court did decline to remove the ban that Texas put on explicit materials being viewed online, whereas our Attorney General, who is a scumbag, has insisted that sites do an age verification system of some sort where they have to log in and prove their age through some means, usually through official ID. Yes, it is Kim Paxton. Well, you just, maybe that lazy eye of his needs to get back to work. Anyway, some sites have said, we are not going to be responsible for people's data, so we are going to block that IP in Texas. Several sites have joined in this fact, but others have said, no, come and get us. I dare you. Because they're not going to waste the time. So, wow. My stance on this is, while the internet is a free and open place, I installed the first modem in my family's computer. I know exactly what is lurking out there. And while the internet is kind of a treacherous place, it is not the responsibility of the state government to regulate what my children can have access to. It is solely mine and my wife's. Therefore,
and your children.
I do put limiters on what my children can view on the internet. I give them devices that can access the internet. Of course I'm going to put some sort of limiter on it, but not just like, hey, program, please keep them from going here. No, I actively have to take an interest in what they are viewing. I have to look at it. I have to put keywords in. I have to look at sites and put them in. I have to get reports weekly of what they are viewing, because it's not just explicit content that I'm concerned about. I don't want them buying things on the internet that could possibly harm them, that there is no age verification system for. Like, I don't know, guns and ammunition, which no one seems to care about, but I do because I'm a parent. Now, while I do not feel as though children should have unfettered access to the internet with no regulations or restrictions whatsoever, absolutely not. I have to. Ain't gonna happen. But I don't expect the government to do it, because also, here's the thing, guys. Our children, whether you know it or not, are very smart. So whatever ways that I know, because mine regularly test the limits. So it's part of being a parent and also being tech savvy enough to keep ahead of them. Now, children are smart, and when they brought these bans out in Texas, as a viewer of some of that explicit material, not telling on myself, I didn't even blink an eye. You know why? VPNs exist. And literally nothing has changed in my life except for the click of a button. This was a futile effort and mainly done for posturing. Or is it? Because, as we say, nerds should vote. This is part of something called Project 2025. Whereas now this seems as very innocuous. It has no teeth. What are you going to do with it? It absolutely could be pressed into some sort of national thing following this. So always stay up on what your politicians are doing, what your state officials are doing, down to the limit. And if you want your children not to view something on the internet, then do something about it. You have to be involved. Mine loves spending time on the internet. That is the reality that we face today. There is all kinds of interesting stuff, things they can learn, entertaining things. But as far as like being mindful of what they are viewing, I need to be involved. I can't expect someone else to do it. Now, I trust that my children can't walk into the local liquor store and say, yo, give me a fifth of whiskey, and walk out the door. I do expect those safeguards to be in place, so I can't be fully like, I don't want the state doing anything. I want the state doing something that will actually do something. This is not the answer. And unfortunately, I expect this ruling to come down from the Supreme Court. Not a lot of dissension. Not a lot of people even really made any comment on it. Because it really is hard when you make the argument, we don't want children doing it.
Nobody wants children doing it.
Of course not, because that's where you can get everyone to agree. We don't want children seeing this, right? No, think about the kids. Think about the kids. Well, I do think about my kids. I absolutely do, and I think about other people's kids. But this is not how you're going to be able to safeguard children on the internet. That is the responsibility of parents and what their children can view. I'm sorry, and it is a part-time, it's not a full-time job. It's a part-time job, honestly. I have to look and I'll be like, and sometimes I'm like, hey, don't even. Like, I'll point, no, absolutely not. Okay, and I let my kids know, look, I offer them, children are going to have their secrets. I wish my parents knew half the stuff I did. But, you know, this is a futile and basically no teeth effort. You know, and it only really, it's harming stupid adults. There, I said it.
No, you know what's funny about this is, like, Jason's a super considerate person, and he asked in our chat, basically, do we care if he talks about this? And like, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a considerate person, and nobody did. Nobody cares if you talk about this, but we didn't know what direction your conversation about it would take place. This, yeah, he's just all the way right about this.
Yeah.
In my head is like, if you think this is what's protecting your children on the internet, then you have been mind-numbingly lax.
They have fooled you. I have a 16-year-old boy, okay? If he wasn't, I wonder what's going on with it.
Like,
yeah,
if you're not personally taking an interest, like, kids can be doxing themselves, kids can be buying things, kids can do, you already had to have an interest and to be like, oh, I have peace of mind, so I'm not going to regulate my child's internet because Texas has this under control, is bonkers crazy.
Yeah, I have to limit.
It didn't help.
And I have to limit what browsers they have access to, because they can download a different browser and get around a couple of things.
Yeah.
And not just, like I said, not just explicit material. You know, you can buy drugs off of the internet.
Yeah.
I need to be careful of all of these things because those are my kids. And I know everything but I'm not just going to focus on one aspect of it. This is a smoke screen. This is, look over here, we're protecting the children.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, like, I don't know, keeping them from getting shot in schools. But that's me.
It's a smoke screen for that. It's also a smoke screen for your data is our business.
That is the other part.
That makes me
The people
so
pushing this
nervous.
are all about freedom and privacy. There are so many big companies out there whose job it is to protect our data that fail regularly.
I have only heard conservatives say this in the past 4 years, and before I heard it a lot. Those who insist upon both privacy and freedom will get neither. So roughly, Ben Franklin quote, roughly, what he said, deserve neither. And this is one of those things that you can't claim freedom and privacy in tandem with this. They took away your privacy in the name of alleged freedom with a smokescreen.
And there is a reason, like, a lot of people make the joke of, like, if I die, you know, burn my hard drive or something like that. Do you really want age verification with your picture and driver's license and then what you may have been viewing on the internet? I think a lot of you would say no.
I would say no, but only because I Google a lot of stupid shit.
Although in Texas, shortly after that law passed, searches for VPNs jumped about 800%.
That's
shocker.
I'm happy that people are learning. People are learning.
And now OnlyFans might be in trouble in Texas.
No, they won't. And there. That's it. Click.
No,
One button,
they might
literally.
be in trouble for the other thing, but I don't know how. I just read it today. Like, they're going to come for OnlyFans, and I'm like, first of all, like, they're not making porn for women very much anyway, so, like, it's not my thing.
And I feel the same way about, like, social media sites for my children and things like that. But you know what? I tailor that to what I approve for my kids.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to protect your children, get involved.
Texas doesn't and shouldn't, but is trying to parent for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tracked my son. I was like, hey, Eddie, what's a VPN? He was like, oh, it's a... I was like, let me go through your filters again real quick. But anyway, guys, it's your responsibility, not the state's. So.
Yep. You're just right about that.
Y'all thought this was all about porn.
I mean, I honestly, I didn't know for sure, but like, no notes. That yes to everything you just said. That's it. I was gonna bring up the guns thing. Oh, you do know how to protect. You do know that children need protected, but you already brought that up, so just no notes.
Yeah,
No notes. Yeah.
I plan to get them to adulthood by any means. All right. So I gotta cover.
And you know what's not gonna stop that?
Exactly. I have to protect them on all fronts, not just one.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, sorry, the least concerning one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's the least concerning of the major threats.
I mean, not saying anything like I've had very frank conversations with my children about like sex and relationships because it's never really too early to have that conversation. No. Didn't like but I was like, I gotta fucking do this.
Probably wasn't something you're like, ooh, I get to have this talk today, but like you have to.
And granted, I got a boy and a girl, they're getting the same conversation, both of you. Good. Same rules apply for both of y'all. So.
And just like the least concerning of the internet, like doxing yourself or buying alcohol, that is the other part. Buying drugs, buying guns, with adults, buying like
we've had a lot of talk about compartmentalization of our personal data on the internet too. It's not just one thing. The internet is full of great things, but with no knowledge, it's not going to work. And that's my responsibility to impart my children with that knowledge.
For sure.
But anyway, yeah.
And it's such a important, like, I'm sorry. If Ken Paxton was doing a good job, I wouldn't know his name.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
The only reason I have to concern myself to that extent is because garbage. It's garbage. Anyway
that was mine.